Hey, somebody needs to organize their digits. You have? Excellent. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You are listening to The Professional Noticer. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Andrews. Hey, thank you for making me a part of your week. My purpose here today and with every show we do is to play the part of a best friend or a coach. I want to help you live the life of your wildest dreams by giving you access to the greatest mentors the world has to offer today. This week, The Professional Noticer is sponsored by wisdomharbor.com. Today, families and school systems all over America are finding wisdomharbor.com's one-of-a-kind streaming service to be the perfect, low-cost, high-quality educational tool for their students. Wisdom Harbor's stated responsibility is to create the next greatest generation, starting with your hometown and your school system. For less than $3 a month per teacher, classrooms have access to original content only found on wisdomharbor.com that teaches, entertains, and builds character in young people while creating conversations between young people and the adults in their community. Utilizing video, audio, and the written word, content is delivered in small bites by Grammy winners, CEOs, comedians, chefs, best-selling authors, and Hall of Fame speakers. There are even guitar lessons from an award-winning songwriter. Check it out today and join your friends and neighbors who are already a part of wisdomharbor.com. And isn't it time your schools got involved? Wisdomharbor.com, creating America's next greatest generation, starting with your hometown. Observations and answers, that's what we do here on The Professional Noticer. And of course, you know we love it when somebody comes to the table with observations and answers. And we have that today. We have an old friend. I've recently been reacquainted with this guy, and I knew him when he was younger, and now he is an older, incredibly successful entrepreneur. This is the founder of the Digital Organizer. If you haven't heard of this, listen closely because this could change your life. Please welcome Shawn Lemon. Hey, Shawn.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I've been a longtime fan and have been inspired, and I just find you absolutely hilarious and
Well,
love you, man.
You're very nice. You're very nice. Now you're up in Nashville, right?
That's right. Yeah, I'm in Franklin specifically.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, the Digital Organizer, I think was an evolution for you, and
Yeah.
and I want to ask what it is, but I guess if you tell me what it is, you can also tell me how you developed this. Because by telling me what it is, I think you're gonna explain why why this will help people.
Yeah. Well, how about we just do a little bit of both together?
Yeah.
What I found
Please.
is when I originally started working at the Apple Store, I quickly got put into a position where I would teach people how to use software and how to use their new Apple products. They bought this new stuff and they were really excited about it. But then they would transfer their information to their new computer, or they would have the Genius Bar do it. And then they would come to me to sit down to teach them, and they'd open it up and their mess got transferred from the old machine to the new. They're looking for a fresh start, and a new computer didn't solve it. And they were pretty overwhelmed of how do I get these 30,000 emails in my inbox under control? What do I do with all these files that are spread out all over the place and having multiple cloud accounts? My passwords are a mess, things like that. And because it's not always straightforward, and a lot of people aren't always really interested in nerding out about how to use their computer and creating systems and everything. People, while I was working there, just asked me to come and help them in their homes and remotely over Zoom and things like that. And this business was born. And it's been almost 11 years now of doing this full time and helping people get control of their digital chaos and feeling confident and can find what they're looking for really quickly.
Sounds like you've been listening to my private conversations, Shawn, because I gripe about this kind of stuff all the time. And
Totally.
my default, and I'm probably your typical person who would call and say, I need help,
Yep.
because my default is to like just not deal with it. My wife's default. Now I won't say that my wife has a lot of unread emails,
Okay.
but the last time I looked, there were 37,000.
Yeah.
I mean, and you look at that and you go, okay, I'm toast. I'm done. There's no way I can't. So you actually, the digital organizer actually takes control of this. Is this like the digital version of home organizing? You like the Marie Kondo of the digital world?
Yeah, pretty close to it, except I would say it's a little bit more in depth, because what we're actually thinking about is, since it's all digital, we're kind of doing architecture as well. So we're like cleaning up, but we've got to create a system that really works for you. And so, if you're not someone who likes to do maintenance, we need to create a workflow that's really maintenance free. I mean, I want to do that just in general, but like we're going to make it as dead simple as possible for you with the least amount of places to check. And we'll sacrifice all the bells and whistles to make it as simple as possible. So, we're really trying to architect a solution that really makes sense. And if we think about a workshop, and we have different phases of a project when we're working on something. I love to make pottery in my spare time. And so there are very distinct phases of when it's wet, when it's halfway dry, when it's totally dry, and when it's time to glaze it. And so I have different tools, and I have different areas that I work in my shed on those different places. And we want to take that same sort of mindset to how we set up our digital environment as well, so that we just have what we need at hand. And we also realize where there's overlap and how one thing affects each other, and to kind of get all of those different places settled. Because the biggest thing with organization is having a place for it and it being easy enough. So it's not just having a good place. If the tool is buried deep, deep in the toolbox and in the shed, you know where to find it.
Right.
You're not going to use it if it's too much effort to get there or to put it away. And so those are the types of things that we're really thinking about. Yeah, we clean up, but let's also figure out, how do we set it up so that it's incredibly easy for you?
I listen to your voice, and you're just, doesn't he have a calming voice? Just like the Mr. Rogers of the digital world. Boys and girls, this can be simple. I mean, you just have that, and I'm sure you have to be calming, because I'm sure that people like me come to you and just like, okay, it's either you or the cliff. I'm jumping off a cliff, or you're going to help me.
Well,
so
you're so right. I mean, I started this in 2008. And so I wonder, I was 23 or something. So it's like, how much of the way I talk has actually been affected by needing to teach people, and especially people who are very intimidated with technology, especially at the Apple Store. There's a lot of older folks that I would work with, and they felt so intimidated, and then they were scared, and then, it's very loud and busy in there, that I had to hold this space of calm, collected energy. Everything is okay. You're okay. Let's experiment and play, And so I wonder how much that's affected me, because it's been a while since 2008.
And I understand that, because, man, older people, which I guess I'm an older person now, but I think about how my boys use this technology and how seamless they seem to be. You ever seen somebody I got a friend, a Wisdom Harbor contributor named Anthony Crawford, and he's a prodigy on stringed instruments. He can just pick up a stringed instrument that he's never even seen. Like they put one in his hand that was 4 strings, and it was some kind of African thing, and he just started playing it. And so that's the way, kids are with technology these days. Whereas my generation, I'm looking at them, be careful with that. It's a computer. They're just like, bah, 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 bah. So what are the reasons that you see that are causing chaos in people's lives? What are there some specific things that you see over and over?
Yeah, it's, I mean, the biggest thing is trying to use too many tools to solve the problem. So, if our task manager doesn't work and we haven't been doing our tasks and it's just not easy and you find yourself just going back to paper or whatever, and people kind of flipping back and forth, well, usually it's let me get a new app, or someone tells them about a new app, or that app doesn't do a specific feature that, like, oh, I would really want to do that. That would be the game changer for me. And so then they get another one and then another one. And so their project management or task management apps, they've got a bunch of them. And then there's stickies and sheets of paper as well. And then the same thing happens with files, Dropbox, Google Drive Box. Like, we just keep adding these new tools. And honestly, guys, the tools, like 90% of them, in the project management or task management space, all the feature set is totally overlapped. They've just got this one thing that they focused in on to market that says ours is better than the rest because it does this. But in the end, it's all about how you use this. And it's really stopping and thinking, how should I use this? What's the flow of step 1, 2, and 3 to do the task that I want? I mean, that just could be email. Like, when do I check email? How frequently? And when do I deal with the types of requests that I get? So those are some of the questions that we want to ask ourselves and spend more time on thinking about how we use a tool than what that tool is and trying to find the perfect one, because there is no perfect one. You get that baseline down and you can do the same thing with just about any tool. And then from there, it's optimizing. Then you go and pick one that really kind of hones in on that certain feature. But yeah, it's just about stopping to think, how should I do this? And that's what we really focus on is teaching people how to think about organization and how to think about discover a workflow of how you do something.
Well, I think it's probably clear, at least clear to me, that I am not the answer. Yeah, because my best thinking is, let me just dig in on a Saturday and clear all this stuff off. Mm-hmm. But then I'm back in the same boat a couple of months later. And so how do you get people organized where they can stay that way? And I know it's probably like a diet. You can't just diet for a little bit. And then, I mean, you got to change some things.
Yeah. So there are actually some really simple things that we can do to stay on top of it. That it's funny how sometimes the smallest things can actually make the biggest difference. So, for example, the majority of people that we see, and the majority of people, if I would just stop anyone on the street and say, what does your downloads folder look like? And they're like, well, it's a mess. It's just a pile of files. Well, that's because your browser by default just downloads something to the downloads folder. And so every time you download something, it puts it in the same spot, which means you only have one place to look. But that also means that you have to go there to clean it up. So if I give you a resource, for example, which I want to give you today, it's a file organization resource. It's a PDF. And it's got all kinds of good stuff in it. Well, if you download that and you don't like the name, well, how are you going to find it? Or what if I didn't name it well? Of course, my file is named well because I'm the digital organizer, but someone else might just have 12367.pdf is what your 1098 for your taxes got downloaded as. How are you ever going to find that document when it's named, 10598.pdf?
You're talking about my life, Shawn.
Yeah.
You're talking about my life.
Yeah. So if we go into our web browser and we say, instead of just downloading to the downloads folder, ask me where I should put this file, then when you go to download that tax file or you download my PDF, it says, where do you want to put it? And so then you can put it under your operations folder and resources. If if you followed my method, then you know exactly where to put that. Or it's going to be under financials, taxes, 2024 taxes. And you're going to name that 2024 1098. And it's from Ameris Bank, for this property. And so it's very easy to find it and just organize as you go. And so it's not something that we have to sit down and routinely clean up, because I don't know about you. I hate doing routine cleanup. I just want to create new stuff. I don't want to have to clean up other things. And so the more I can make these small changes of just ask me where to download. And of course, there is a project of overhauling your filing system. So you have a place to put it there as well. But it's those small changes that you can stay on top of it. And we've got a bunch of those things for emails and project management and passwords and stuff like that.
I'm sure that you have observed some horror stories, and so because this kind of stuff seems to spiral downward. And are there any examples that come to your mind? I'm just curious, because I was just saying, what's the worst story you can think of that? Any horror stories you can think of that this disorganization in a company or a family has caused?
Yeah. So this is a crazy example when it comes to money. So, and email. So this one guy that I know, he had so many emails that he was bogging down his email app. He's a Mac user. He used Apple Mail. And he came to me came to me because his computer was running slow. And I checked it out and we cleared some stuff off. And I'm like, I really think mail is the issue here. Well, he went out and bought a completely spec'd out Mac Pro. At the time, that means like it was about $10,000 for this Mac. Eesh. Absolutely everything packed into it. Set it up fresh and had the exact same problem because there was so much mail. The mail app was slowing down the entire computer. And so it's basically a bunch of wasted money because we could have fixed the old machine by doing this one thing in Gmail where we say, and I don't know any other applications or any other mail servers that do this. That's why we love Gmail. You can say, limit the amount of emails that download to my app per folder. And so we just said, don't sync more than 2,000 emails per folder. And then boom, the problem instantly went away. But his machine was totally crippled. And turns out he had over 1 million emails in his email account. Isn't that wild? 1 million. Really? And Gmail could handle it too. So it's just, and he still was able to continue using the Apple Mail app for all of the more recent email. But anything that he wanted to search the archives for, he just pulled up a web browser, went to Gmail, and found what he was looking for instantly because it's Google and they're great at search.
Unreal. That is crazy. So what is the first step somebody should take? Number one thing somebody should do to get a hold, other than call you, and we're gonna have your stuff on the show notes, how to reach out to you, and so if you don't mind that, we're gonna put people in touch with you.
Would love it. Yeah.
So what's the first step for somebody? Yeah,
the first step is first off taking inventory. Like, what do we have? So if you're trying to clean up your files, maybe sit down with a sheet of paper if you feel overwhelmed digitally, and start writing down, where's your stuff? So we got iCloud, we have things on our desktop and downloads. We've got Dropbox. Oh yeah, we have that OneDrive account. Oh, and somebody sent me something on Box. Do I have something in ShareFile? So you just start like writing some of these things down and you look and see what's here and why is it there? And then we want to consolidate everything into one place. What I find a lot of people try and do is organize Dropbox, then organize their desktop, then organize OneDrive. And so they're trying to organize in a bunch of different places. And the thing is, the majority of people out there have the same folders, like some of the same folder structures. And so you'll find yourself like reorganizing the same things over and over again. So if we can consolidate everything into one place first and then deal with it, then you're on the right track. The same thing goes for project management. Pick an app, decide that you're going to commit to it for at least 30 days of only using that one, and just consolidate all the tasks from all the different places, your spreadsheets and stuff, into that one thing, and start working on that and really learn that tool. And go from there. So email's a little bit different, and basically declare email bankruptcy and archive all of the old stuff and then process the more recent and unsubscribe. By the way, I've got both of these steps, like when it comes to where to start with files and with emails. If you sign up for this file organization guide that we're going to link to, you'll get all of this. And I've got videos attached to it as well. Like when I send you some introduction emails to say hello and tell you about the company, I've got emails talking about how to declare email bankruptcy, how to get rid of all of those subscriptions. I'm just giving all of that to you for free.
Okay. And so all we have to do is contact you and...
Yeah, you can just go to thedigitalorganizer.com/TPN. So the professional noticer. So just think TPN, and you could put that in at the end of the digital organizer. And that's how you can get that guide. And then we'll send you some of those other emails about cleaning up your email accounts as well.
Awesome. Well, listen, before I let you go, I've got a personal question for you. Well, this is kind of funny to me that because you're a young dad. Now, how old is Nico?
2.5.
2.5. Yeah. And he's your first. That's you're a young dad. And I know your father-in-law very well. And as you are talking, I'm kind of sitting here thinking, wow, Shawn and Mike are a lot alike.
Yeah.
You guys talk the same language. I mean, Mike can talk gadgets and that kind of stuff. And
he's
my
nerdier
brain,
than I am.
Yeah, my brain just goes out. And so what are you going to do knowing, so I've got 2 boys, and knowing that they grow up with their own personalities, what are you and Mike going to do when Nico grows up and he's like, yeah, computers. Yeah, whatever. It's going to blow your minds.
I'll say more power to you. I think this technology is a means to an end. Like, why I do digital organization is because I love what this can do, but in the end, it enables me to spend more time with Nico. Spend more time riding my motorcycle or taking a kayaking trip or doing other things outside or working with my hands in pottery. I think this is fun, but it's not my life, and I don't want to spend too much time on it because it could just help me to create and other things, and also help me help other people, because that's a need that I have, is to contribute and to help other people in any way that I can. And so this is a great way for me to do it. Now, he's going to be proficient because I can't help but teach.
Right.
But if he doesn't want to spend his life on the computer, I'm like, fantastic, man.
But I love what you just said. It's a means to an end. You don't want to spend your life on a computer either.
No. I spend probably a lot less time than most people, actually.
Yeah, and this kind of stuff just shuts my brain down. And so you are a necessary person for somebody like me. So totally. Thank you for taking the time to do this. This is eye-opening and awesome that there's somebody like you out there that's looking out for people like me.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to be here and grateful to be on the show and get to chat with you today.
Well, tell your wife and your in-laws I said hello. And
I
thank
will,
you,
for
buddy.
sure.
Shawn Lemon, and all the stuff will be on the show notes. So let's contact him. That's the digital organizer, Shawn
Looking forward
Lemon.
to
Thank
it.
you, buddy.
Thank you.
I'm Andy Andrews, the professional noticer, harnessing common sense and wisdom to plow through challenges all the way to an answer for you. And I think that'll do it for this week. Get us out of here, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the boys and girls who aspire to become ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of another episode of The Professional Noticer. In a world where common sense has become a superpower, I'm harnessing that tiny bit of mental energy I have for you, seeking wisdom, making observations, and endeavoring to answer tough questions in a way that will empower your family and your business. I'm Andy Andrews. Until next week, goodbye. This episode of The Professional Noticer was produced by Matt Limpert. The Noticer theme written and performed by Sugarcane Jane. Duke Cannon Soap for the cast and crew provided by Twinkle and Smoke of Beverly Hills. Additional financial consideration provided by Grandma King's Can O' Cranberry. We make your life easier. At Grandma King's Can O' Cranberry, we don't think you're lazy, but a holiday dinner is tricky enough to pull off as it is. When you're trying to avoid serving an undercooked turkey that comes with a side of salmonella or an overcooked giant pan of turkey jerky, simply opening a can starts to look pretty good. We, of course, continue to be supportive of your grandmother's cranberry sauce recipe made from scratch, but in this case, we must simply draw a hard line in the holiday sand. Knowing it is likely that sometime in the future we will all live in underground nuclear bunkers, safe from the space aliens rampaging above us, you can rest assured that Grandma King Can O' Cranberry will be there for you. It may not pair perfectly with the spam you'll be eating, but it will give you a taste of holidays past. Grandma King's Can O' Cranberry slides out of its container, retaining its shape, just like dog food, allowing you to create individually sliced, tidy circular discs of hard jellied cranberry puree. Your kids will love it, and best of all, in the bunker, you'll know it's shelf-stable for 70 years. That's Grandma King's Can O' Cranberry. Order a case now and receive free a serving of Grandma King's Can O' English Pea Casserole.